Hello, everyone. This is an extra special episode of Your Mark on the World, and let me tell you why. I have with me one of my dearest friends. I've come to know Rodney Sampson, a bishop in the International Bishops' Conference, the author of Kingonomics, and the founder of the Opportunity Hub, and an extraordinary individual in every respect. And he and I have had some fun opportunities to collaborate. He wrote the foreword for my book, Crowdfunding for Social Good. He's coming to speak at the Social Enterprise and Crowdfunding Conference here in Utah in September. I've had the opportunity to speak at his Kingonomics conferences and to review his book, Kingonomics. And in the time we've come to know each other, I think we've discovered over and over again how our values align and we share common interests. And you can tell I'm excited to have Rodney Sampson with us. Rodney, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Devin. It's so good to be back with you again, and I'm excited about today's conversation and excited to be a part of your journey as well.
Well, thank you. Rodney, one of the things that you're working on right now is a crowdfunding raise in Georgia. And let me just explain to people that crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding, is an exciting idea that is available in the United States only to accredited investors, except in a few states. And Georgia is one of the few states that has implemented a broader exemption to allow for crowdfunding from ordinary investors than the rest of the country. And so, in fact, Georgia has what I think could fairly be described as the most liberal crowdfunding law in the country. And it was driven, interestingly, by the state securities regulators, which I found to be a very enlightened approach. And you're using this Georgia exemption now to do some crowdfunding for Opportunity Hub. Rodney, tell us a little bit about how it's going and how it's working.
Sure. Well, Devin, as you know, we've been on this mutual journey of advocating for and being a part of the people that have just been really looking to bring equity-based crowdfunding to fruition in America and beyond. And of course, I had the opportunity to meet Attorney Vincent Russo, who's the former securities commissioner, who's the state regulator for securities in Georgia. He spoke at our past conference this past year. Vincent and I were talking about the importance of getting the word out about intrastate equity crowdfunding across the state. And I said, well, you know what? We've got a national platform. We have a state platform. We have a local platform. Why don't we merge crowdfunding and co-working? I mean, this is basically where startups start. And because startups seed capital, early stage capital, which is incredibly difficult to come across, why not reverse engineer an ecosystem and create it with a crowd? And so that was the seed that was planted, and thus we created 1,000 as the campaign for our interstate crowdfunding. We launched approximately 3 weeks ago now, and we've received commitments for about $25,000 to date. I can tell you this, having raised capital in the past for startups, it's a difficult raise that I've ever done, and I know it will be, because we are creating a new culture of first-time investors. As we know, 97% of most Americans are invested only in some type of product that leads back to Wall Street. They're kind of held hostage a little bit by Wall Street. You and I, because of the circles we run in or the opportunities that have been afforded, have been able to invest as, you know, angels or micro angels in startup companies. So we've been afforded something that most haven't. So we're finding ourselves not only having to educate people on what co-working is, what an accelerator is, what coding is, what startups are, but what does it mean to invest in a startup? So it's an amazing journey. It's a part of our mission. And rather than just go around the country and talk about it and have these great conversations, we decided that we would basically become the example and hope to set the model for what's really one of the most aggressive equity-based crowdfunding raises in the nation to non-accredited investors.
This is a really a historic kind of thing. There have not been many successful crowdfunding raises so far in Georgia. There have been a few, as I understand it, but this is one of the early proofs of the model, isn't it?
It is. You know, we're working very closely. There are two intrastate platforms in Georgia. Spark Market is the one we chose. The other one is led by my dear friend over at Sterling Funder. So those are the two players that we have in the market. Now, what's interesting about Georgia's intrastate exemption, it actually does not require you to use a platform. However, and when you review our offering circular for this particular raise, we wanted to establish solidarity and parallels with the federal exemption of Title III, so that as Title III moves forward, there may not be such a learning curve. So we were intentional about even establishing investment limits that were parallel to the proposed rules of Title III. For instance, in Georgia, a non-accredited investor, Devin, can invest $10,000 per year in an entity, whereas there are other limitations in Title III that are proposed that would limit someone that makes less than $100,000 to be able to do that. But we wanted, again, to establish a precedence for what the proposed rules may be like.
I think that's really wise. Rodney, would you tell us about some of the details of your offering? If you feel comfortable, I'd love to hear kind of what the offer is, so that we can understand what investors are getting in Opportunity Hub. Sure.
So I've been advised by our legal counsel to state up front that this is not an offer. That's true. This is not an offer. I'll talk about some of the constructs of the offering circular from an educational perspective, of course. I must say that the opportunity to buy shares is only available to Georgia residents. You must be a Georgia resident. You have to show proof of residency before you can invest. Inside of the offering circular, we actually amended our operating agreement first to create a new class of shares in the LLC. Class C is what we call it. The Class C is for the crowdfunding investors. We essentially have authorized a total of 10,000 shares, but we're making available 6,000 Class C shares at $100 each for a total raise of $600,000 for a total of 20% of Opportunity Hub. So that's a $3 million valuation. We believe that by allowing those who are interested in the entrepreneurial ecosystem the opportunity to invest as little as $100, begin journey. Remember, we're shifting mindsets, and we're looking to create a culture of Georgia residents who now want to invest in viable, what we believe to be viable startups. In the offering circular, we talk about the business of Opportunity Hub. We are a co-working space. We aim to be an accelerator, and we also aim to offer special courses around coding and entrepreneurship. We make money through co-workers paying monthly fee to be a member, or companies paying a monthly fee for a private office, or you can rent a meeting room, or you can rent the space for an event. The use of proceeds from this round, we must raise the minimum of $50,000, Devin, to break escrow. And like I say, we have about half of the commitments there. The money is $600,000, and we have 6 months to do that. So from now all the way, we're in the raise now until November the 17th. That's the last day that the offering circular allows us to raise money. We can extend that by 90 days as well. The use of proceeds of that money, approximately $200,000 of it, which would be 1/3 of it, would be towards operating capital. We want to hire 5 people. Another $200,000 would be for our accelerator, where we want to invest in up to 10 companies to help fill the gap in the Southeast around access to early stage angel capital. And then another $100,000 is to launch our coding partnership with the Iron Yard, which we're really excited about. And then $100,000 for expansion. And we're looking at a second location in metropolitan Atlanta. But I must tell you that my conversations with the city of D.C., some other stakeholders in Washington, as you know, we did our annual conference there last year, are really interested about bringing Opportunity Hub there. So I just gave you an overview and summary of what's in the offering. Of course, all of the disclosures are there. We were very intentional, and Georgia did not require this, by the way, but we wanted to set a precedence by having the proper operating agreement, giving us authority to create the class of shares, the offering circular, which outlines the offering itself, is basically our prospectus or PPM. So we wanted to again establish a precedence for what we believe national crowdfunding could look like as well.
That's great. Well, Rodney, it seems like that's going very, very well, and I congratulate you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on in the Opportunity Hub, the business itself, so that people understand a little bit better about what you're doing there?
Sure. Absolutely. So just a little bit of history on how Opportunity Hub was created. When I published Kingonomics last January, man, it's such a roller coaster year since January 2013 and our first Kingonomics. That evolved into a company that produces events, large-scale conferences and pop-up events called Kingonomics Events International. Chris Terrell is a part of that entity. Branded that conference to be the Opportunity Up Unleashing Private Equity Conference. And as you know, you've been over a 3-day period. We attract anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 people, 500 teams. It's an amazing event over a 3-day period. The entrepreneurs that were attending would say, well, where do we go now? What happens every day? We leave the conference, we get great information, great contacts, but how do we actually, from ideation all the way to exit, how do we start, launch, grow, and scale a business? And so we opened the space. It's a approximately 10,000 square foot space in downtown Atlanta, across from the Metro, across from the Ritz-Carlton. The new streetcar has a stop right outside of our building. So we're very, very centrally located in Atlanta's downtown market. This is the epicenter of right on Peachtree Street, the famous Peachtree Street, the real Peachtree Street in Atlanta, Georgia. Right now, we currently have about 50 co-workers. We have about 5 companies that have occupied the offices. We have one of the companies that we mentor and help pipeline for ABC, Shark Tank, Southern Culture Cafe. They're actually opening up their next cafe inside of the Opportunity Hub. The construction is going on as we speak.
Oh,
and
very
that's
cool.
The anchor for our food incubator. We focus on certain industries here: consumer products, consumer web, supply chain innovation, and social enterprise. That is kind of our niche. And of course, technology is a part of all of that. So I won't say we're just another tech space, but we picked some respective industries that we're seeing some.
That's fantastic. Well, give us a quick update, if you will, on your conferences this year. Are you holding any more conferences this year, Rodney?
Well, we're looking at September. So after January, Devin, we partnered with South by Southwest, and we did kind of a pop-up version of our event there. We just came back from the Black Enterprise Conference about a month ago, where we take excerpts of our conference and we insert them as premium content into other conferences as well. We're looking at September again in D.C. Of the Congressional Black Caucus. I'm actually involved in some new legislative work around expanding the new market tax credits to include angel investing in accelerators, co-working spaces, and incubators. And so we're really excited about that, and we may do something big again, impactful, during the Congressional Black Caucus in September, a couple weeks before your conference. So really excited about that. But I tell you, the 365-day-a-year model of teaching, mentoring, and training entrepreneurs at the Opportunity Hub. We're about to launch our Mentors in Residence program, where we're aggregating 100 mentors who will keep daily office hours, not all at one time, of course, but they'll keep office hours and teach classes. And so we're curating those mentors now to bring additional value to our investors who, as an investor, you also get free membership for a year and other discounts as well. So by creating investors first, we believe entrepreneurs and innovators will follow.
That's fantastic. Well, Rodney, I can't tell you how excited I am to have you join us for the Social Enterprise and Crowdfunding Conference, the SECFC 14, as we're calling it, on September 26th here at Snowbird. It's going to be a great event, and you will really make a big impact by coming out, and I appreciate you coming from all the way across the country to join us. We've got a great roster of people, some folks you know like Doug Elenoff and Vincent Molinari will be there as well, and so it'll be a great group. There will be some opportunities, I'm sure, for you to meet some new people as well, but appreciate your coming out for that. It'll be great to have your insights at that event.
Thank you. Excuse me, I got a little cough.
Oh my heavens, what have I done? I clearly created a problem, Rodney, but I really appreciate you taking the time for us this morning.
No, you got me. I definitely look forward to supporting you and being there, helping to get the word out. You've been a champion. We see Opportunity Hub as a social enterprise. We're creating an ecosystem that doesn't exist by reverse engineering it, by using equity-based crowdfunding and allowing the community to be a part of that. And so I look forward to continuing this conversation with you out in Utah.
All righty. Well, thank you, Rodney. We'll look forward to seeing you then.
Thank you very much.
All righty. Let's do some good.